Okay, good morning, everyone. We will start our program after 5 minutes.
Hello. Hello, ma'am.
Hello. We hear you.
Hello, good morning.
Start na.
Good morning. Hindi ako makaano. Ha? On mute? Hindi unmute or mute? Okay mo na. Okay na?
Pipinin daw.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello po, naririnig po kayo.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Loud and clear po.
Romy.
Good morning
po.
Last day of our webinar.
Okay, ma'am. Okay na po, ma'am.
Loud and clear po.
Yes po,
Good
loud and
morning.
clear.
Pasensya na po kasi mahina ang signal ko dito. Sige, okay. Mag-start na po tayo, ma'am. Okay. My high respect and courtesy to our CEO President, Dr. Leonelo B. Capolso, sir, to all staff of Beyond Books Publication, to all members and who are in attendance today for our 3D webinar. Welcome to our first international multidisciplinary webinar series with the theme Rising Beyond Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development. To start with, may I request everybody to be with us for our opening prayer and with the national anthem.
Let us bow our heads and put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today. May you bestow your guidance and blessings so that we can enjoy and appreciate its significance in our lives. Bless everyone who are present here today, that each one of us may be able to share our knowledge, understanding, and wisdom for your glory and honor. May the various activities related to this event be a success through your intervention. We all ask of this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiging sa sinangalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatang tulog sa simoy at sa langit ng bangaw, ay hinatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iinit, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidinig. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay ang langit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya ng pagkay wangapin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Yes, hello, good morning everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Let us now listen to the opening remarks to be given to us by Professor Minsawari S. Bacolod, the Authors and Writers Guild President of Beyond Books Publication. Sir?
Yes, thank you, sir. Professor Minsuarez Bacolod, Authors and Writers Guild President of Beyond Books Publication. Once again, to our participants today for our day 3, we extend our gratitude sa lahat ng umattend since day 1 and day 2. This virtual conference, no, we are sure also that we are reaching out many students, teachers, and professionals from different private and public schools all over the Philippines. A warm welcome to you all sa ating Day 3 webinar series. Again, maraming salamat po at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, sir, for a warm welcome to everybody. And now, let's proceed to the second part of our webinar, is the introduction of our preliminary speaker. Our first speaker is currently affiliated with Batasan Hills National High School, SDO Quezon City, as grade 9 English teacher. She completed her bachelor's degree and secondary education major in English at Southern Leyte State University, San Juan, where she also became an instructor of the said university. She is currently pursuing her master's degree at National Teachers College with the program Master of Arts in Education, major in English. She also completed an international diploma in international life skills in the International Institute of Influencers and became a Beyond Books Publication awardee of Huwarang Guro sa larangan ng pagtuturo and Outstanding Global Educator for Book Author category, which she co-authored Ibong Adarna, Batayang Aklat. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our first speaker. Our keynote speaker is no other than Ma'am Leonilyn C. Trapero. A warm of applause.
Good day, everyone. So I'm glad that we're virtually together in this Sunday morning. So let us make our Sunday a fruitful and a productive one. So I'm also glad that I'm one of the speakers for this international multidisciplinary webinar series. So I will be sharing to you my knowledge on performing arts, its strengths and implications. I am Leonilyn Trapero from the Tasmanian National High School. So before anything else, I have here a quotation from Luis Valdez. He is a famous playwright, and he once said, "To whom does the future belong? It belongs to those who can imagine it." Imaginations. This has something to do with our topic for this morning, which is performing arts. So there is no doubt that through performing arts, our students can give their imaginations life. And of course, in doing this, they create something that never was before. So they are fully capable with our guidance and support of designing a future that is richer because of their contributions. That is one of the reasons why, even in times that we are more focused on students' achievement, accountability, we cannot and we must not leave the arts behind. All right? So this morning, we will discuss performing arts in education, and integrated arts. Okay? So I know that you know what performing arts are. It's a form of art in which artists use their voices, their bodies, often in relation to other objects, to convey artistic expression. So performing arts includes several disciplines, and each discipline performed in front of a live audience. So it's important as part of our lives, in our communication, and even in our self-expression. So these art forms are categorized as such because each embodies the idea of practice to performance, the process of experiencing, studying, performing a piece of music, a script, or even a choreography. And that's performing arts. Okay, so let's begin with performing arts in education. So we have elements in teaching and learning. We have the teacher, learner, and the environment. So everyone will agree that teacher affects eternity. So no one knows where his or her influence stops. So the teacher's motivation, the teacher's energy, the teacher's inspiration is actually one of the important elements of teaching and learning. So with the learner, who is equipped with cognitive, affective, and appetitive faculties So when we say cognitive, that pertains to the senses, to the memory, to the intellect, imagination. Okay? Next, affective, that pertains to the feelings and emotions. And the appetitive faculties pertain to the desire or learner's will. Okay? Next, we have the environment, or let us say, a conducive learning environment. So it should not only focus or include where the instruction takes place, but also it should include the methods, the media, and the equipment to convey information. So when do we say that a learning environment is conducive? Of course, if the learner feels secured, respected, accepted, okay? If there's the value of openness, respect, positivity, collaboration, so on and so forth. So these are the elements of teaching and learning. Next, we have the different laws of learning. So these are the different laws of learning. We start with the law of readiness. So the law of readiness, or the readiness of the learner, facilitates the learning process. So the greater the desire, the absorptive, the capacity of the learner. And we agree with that. Okay, the more the child or the student is ready, so the more absorptive capacity of the learner, or the greater the absorptive capacity of the learner. Next, we have the law of effect. The training, which is very relevant to him or to her, gives more learning and satisfaction to the trainee. The law of association believes that every fact, every idea, every concept is best learned if it is associated with something the learner already knows. And therefore, the learner should relate to back home situations or experiences. Next, we have the law of exercise. So, constant repetition of what has been learned increases the probability of learning. And we also agree with that. The more you, or the constant you do a certain activity, okay, it increases the probability of retention and learning. The law of stimulation believes that knowledge comes through sensation. Do you agree with that? So the more senses are stimulated, the more senses involved, okay, the greater the probability of learning. Next is the law of primacy. So according to this law, learning should be done correctly for the very first time. Because according to this, it's difficult to unlearn or to change an incorrectly learned material. Next, we have the law of recency that believes things that are most recently heard, recently learned, are often best remembered. Okay, so do you agree with the law of recency? So the recent, the thing or the heard or learned, it's often best remembered. Next, we have the law of intensity. The more intense the subject or something is taught, the more likely it will be retained. So these are the different. Good day, everyone. So I'm glad that we're virtually together in the Sunday morning. So let us make learning. So with the learner, it is associated with something the learner already knows. And therefore, the learner should relate to back home situations or experiences. Next, we have the law of exercise. So, constant repetition of what has been learned increases the probability this. It's difficult to unlearn or to change an incorrectly learned material.
There's no sound po.
Next, we have the law of recency that believes things that are most recently heard, recently learned, are often best remembered. Okay? So, do you agree with the law of recency? So, the recent, the thing or the idea is heard or learned, it's often best remembered. Next, we have the law of intensity. The more intense the subject or something is taught, the more likely it will be retained. So these are the different laws of learning which can be applicable to, of course, teaching and learning performing arts. Next, let's talk about the different influences or the orientation, specifically in the creative pedagogy or the performing arts pedagogy. So let's begin with Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed and Pedagogy for Liberation. So Paulo Freire critiqued the banking concept of education as an instrument that presupposes oppression. So according to him, education has facilitated a system of oppression where the students have become depositories, containers, receptacles of knowledge to be filled by or to be filled in by teachers. Okay? And he offered a rather radical view that every human being, no matter how ignorant or submerged in the culture of silence, is capable of looking critically at his world in a dialogical encounter with others. Of course, provided with the proper tools for such an encounter, he can therefore gradually perceive his personal and social reality and deal with it critically. Next, we have Augusto Boal's Theater of the Oppressed as a rehearsal for change. Okay, so it is also derived from Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed. He defined oppression as a power dynamic based on monologue rather than dialogue. So it's a relation of domination and command that prohibits the oppressed from being who they are and from exercising their basic human rights. So according to him, it is participatory theater that fosters democratic and cooperative forms of interaction among participants. So according also to Augusto Boal's, theater is emphasized not as a spectacle, but rather as a language designed to analyze, discuss problems of oppression and power, and of course, explore group solutions to these problems. Okay? Next, we have the UNCRCs, or let us say United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, Participation and Empowerment. So we all know that children are entitled to the freedom of expression or to express their opinion, to have a say in matters affecting their social, economic, religious, cultural, and even their political life. So their participation rights include the right to express opinions and be heard, the right to information, and the freedom of association. So engaging these rights as they mature helps children bring about the realization of all the rights and prepares them for their active role in society. Let's proceed with the theater in education, TAI, as an educational method. So why should we use drama or theater? First and foremost, drama and theater is an expressive art form accessible to many types of people. So it's then powerful learning and educational tool or experience. Next, it's a learning approach that can challenge students to create their own meanings of their world based on their experiences, their knowledge, and feelings. It's also through drama and theater that makes the learning experience to be holistic. Why? Because we are engaging in our thoughts, feelings, bodies, in our actions, which can then strengthen or develop our intellectual, social, physical, emotional, and even moral being. Okay? Next, it's also engaging or engages students with their senses, both cognitive and affective, which is a means of inquiry that uniquely contributes to our understanding of our identity, our societies, culture, ideologies, gender, and even time and change. Next, it also empowers learners to understand and influence their world through exploring and reflecting on lived experience. And another thing is that it engages learners to critically analyze global and cultural issues, of course, that's through improvisations. We are also engaging learners to raise awareness of human dilemmas and conflicts, of course, through dramatic problem solving. We're also engaging learners to build a sense of responsibility through social and cultural action. Next, through individual and group-based art activities, it gives learners opportunities for social interaction, negotiation, collaboration that can build their self-confidence and even develop these very essential skills, the skills of interpretation, negotiation, assertion, problem solving, and decision making. So these skills are very important, essential, especially among learners. Okay. Next, it allows for different voices and languages to come out under the disguise of playing a dramatic fiction or situation. Next, the use of drama or theater also develops critical literacy skills. So it's especially effective in promoting literacy skills, the highest order of creating meaning, which is an essential life skill. And next, we have facilitates for an individual and collective interpretation, reflection, transformation, and action on the human condition. It also humanizes learning experience because it values active participation and non-threatening and a very supportive environment. And lastly, it draws on the human capacity to imagine, to ask, what if? And to stand in someone else's shoes through enactment of real and imagined roles and situations. Therefore, it allows learner to invent dramatic context and use dramatic elements to build spontaneous narratives that can lead them to their authentic selves and also with the truth. Okay, next, let's proceed to the integrated theater arts. So we can make use of this creative drama, creative writing, visual arts, creative sound and music, creative body movement, and group dynamics. So we can make use of them, of these things, to stimulate a vast reservoir of underutilized creative energies among the participants. And through this, we can also tap the inner resources to help them give form and expression to their inner selves. So let's talk about first creative drama. It's actually the workshop's core subject area. So this is primarily improvisational theater, in which the output depends on the imagination and creativity of the participants. Okay? Next, we have the creative writing. So it provides non-writers with experiences that may serve as points of departure to the composition of poems and narratives in written or oral form. We also have visual arts, which explores the elements of arts and principles of design in actual improvisations. So through the use of exercises that build skills and imagery, and even the actual execution using simple and material techniques. Next, we have the creative sound and music. So it introduces the power of sound and music in communication of ideas and feelings. At the same time, it encouraged the participants to explore possibilities rather than allow themselves to focus or to be limited in the conventional terms. And lastly, we have, second to the last, by the way, creative body movement. So it's also helpful in making the participants aware of the extent and the power of the body in conveying messages. So our body gestures, our mimetic movement, which are a very good way of conveying messages. And lastly, we have the group dynamics, in which we can facilitate interaction among participants and leading them to camaraderie, teamwork, or teamship, and community spirit. So these are all some of the creative or integrated arts that we can apply. Okay, so I think that would be the end of my talk. Thank you for listening. I hope you have learned something from my discussion. So I would like to end my talk with a final say. Let us all become artistically reflective educators. So in that, we can continue to recognize our own artistic experiences, be it good or bad. This is to help us shape the performing arts experiences that we will create and implement with our students and even within our classrooms. So thank you so much, and God bless us all.
Doc Romy, wala ka pong sounds. Doc Romy, wala ka pong sounds. Naka-unmute ka po.
Oh, sige.
Okay, loud and clear na.
Okay na, ma'am?
Okay.
Okay. And now let's have the giving of certificate to our speaker. Certificate of recognition is awarded to Ma'am Lonilyn Trapero for being the keynote speaker during the 3-day of our first international multidisciplinary webinar series of Authors and Writers Guild Beyond Books publication dated August 26 to 28, 2022 with the theme Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development. Given this 26th day of 28th day of August 2022 at Macabebe, Pampanga. Signed, Dr. Leonelo B. Capolso, Beyond Books Publication CEO, President. Signed, Minsowari S. Baculod, Authors and Writers Guild President. Signed, Professor Rania Lampun, the Astronomy and Space Company, Athens, Greece. Ma'am,
Okay, Doc, proceed to the next speaker.
at this juncture, let's have to welcome our second speaker, keynote speaker, Our second keynote speaker is a licensed professional teacher and a certified foreign language teacher who has experience in handling students of various ages and levels, from elementary to college. He finished Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English as a multi-awarded university student and Dean's Lister at the age of 20. Master of Arts in Education, major in Teaching as a Second Language. As a full scholar at the age of 24. And Doctor of Philosophy in Education, major in Applied Linguistics at 27. He also has acquired 12 units for the degree and Doctor of Education in Educational Management and Leadership. Moreover, Henry has held diverse professional assignments and positions, such as being a subject area student progress in English, leader of innovators, moderator of a school publication, debate trainer, event host, and program coordinator, specialist, among others. Moreover, he has presented various research papers both in local and international settings, alongside being an all-time event host of various events in the Philippines. Henry perceives himself as an enthusiastic, empowered, and exemplary educator who indulges and transformative teaching. Example, creating dynamic relationship between his student and him, and a shared body of knowledge to promote the prioritized student learning and personal growth, and subscribe to a relentless pursuit of improving his personal and professional aspects via attending numerous phases of training at local and international settings. Always on the go to explore different wonders of his brought about by the teaching profession as a vocation. Henry is thrilled to make a change in the life of other people, one step at a time, for the greater glory of God. Ladies and gentlemen, Please help me welcome our keynote speaker. Is no other than Dr. Henry E. Limana II. Sir,
Greetings from the land of smiles, the kingdom of Thailand. I am Henry Limana II, a lecturer from Walilat University. I'd like to say thank you first and foremost to Beyond Books Publication. Able to present a topic to everyone now. This topic is titled Effective Ways of Communication. Everyone are supposed to have already known that knowing when and how to effectively communicate can actually make a difference in our life. But in particular, knowing when and how to effectively communicate in the workplace can help you to reduce miscommunication. It can increase team happiness, it can bolster collaboration, and it can foster trust. So in this talk, in this lecture, I will be talking about how important it is to apply effective communication techniques in a workplace, as we all are here professionals, or some of us here are going to be professionals. So it is very vital for us to apply effective communication techniques in a workplace. So in this lecture, we will be guided by the following objectives. First, we will have to define what workplace communication is. Next, we will have to identify the elements of good communication. After that, we have to determine the benefits of open workplace communication, discuss tips for effective communication in the workplace, and lastly, we will elaborate ways to build leadership communication skills. So without further ado, let us all define workplace communication. Ladies and gentlemen, any form of communication you have at work, regarding work, is considered workplace communication. So this apparently covers specific tasks, discussing specific tasks, disseminating progress, updates, and providing our supervisors or our bosses with feedback or updates or information. So effective cooperation depends on having good communication skills. Since poor communication may lead us to misunderstandings, confusions, and even accidental hurt sentiments. In the workplace, communication can take place in person, face to face, or in writing, or via video conferencing, or at a group meeting. Additionally, it can take place asynchronously or in real time while discussing work through email, recorded video, or a platform. So it is not anymore a secret to everybody that we can communicate through team meetings, one-on-one feedback sessions, by receiving information, communicating about projects, status or progress, collaboration or cross-functional tasks, and nonverbal communication. So all these types of communication that happen in a workplace actually depend on how we create or build good communication. So the question is, if we actually encounter these types of communication every day in a workplace, what are we supposed to assure ourselves of? What I'm trying to say here is that when we communicate in a workplace, what are the elements that must be present in every communication and every communicative phenomenon? First thing here, we have to aim for clarity. Whether we're sending a message, we're drafting an email, or giving an off-the-cuff reply, we have to aim to clearly communicate our message. That's very big. Updates or information. So effective cooperation depends on having good communication skills. Since poor communication may lead us to misunderstandings, confusions, and even accidental hurt sentiments. In the workplace, communication can take place in person, face to face, or in writing, or via video conferencing, or at a group meeting. Additionally, it can take place asynchronously or in real time while discussing work through email, recorded video, or a platform like project management application. So it is not anymore a secret to everybody that we can communicate through team meetings, one-on-one feedback sessions, by receiving information, communicating about projects, status or progress, collaboration or cross-functional tasks, and nonverbal communication. So all these types of communication that happen in a workplace actually depend on how we create or build good communication. So the question is, if we actually encounter these types of communication every day in a workplace, what are we supposed to assure ourselves of? What I'm trying to say here is that when we communicate in a workplace, what are the elements that must be present in every communication and every communicative phenomenon? First thing here, we have to aim for clarity. Whether we're sending a message, we're drafting an email, or giving an off-the-cuff reply, we have to aim to clearly communicate our message. That's very basic, that's elementary. We have to aim for clarity. Two is we have to seek to solve conflicts and not create them. When we communicate, our function there is to build bridges and not to burn bridges. You know what I mean? We have to solve conflicts and not create them. So the reason we are communicating is to solve, misunderstanding or an issue or, a problem, which means we're there to promote effective communication through collaboration on a task or on a project or, an assignment or project, project. Good communication in the workplace can bring up blockers or provide feedback, but make sure that the goal is to get to a better place than where we are now. Third, we have to make sure that our communication goes both ways. What does it try to imply? Every instance of communication in the workplace is an exchange of information. So even one person, even if only one person is only communicating non-verbally, we make sure that our message actually is conveyed and is received well, right? What I'm trying to say here is that the messages that comes from the sender is received very well by the receiver. That's why there are two ways of communication: the sender and receiver. The receiver gives the feedback, the receiver now becomes the sender, and that's actually the cycle. Now, what are the benefits of open workplace communication? Why do we need to actually understand the importance of good communication? Open communication, first and foremost, must be defined. In this case, when we say open communication, it is when people can openly express their thoughts and ideas to one another. In a business setting, for example, an organization can implement open communication by what? Encouraging all employees to express their feedbacks and thoughts. This can make employees feel more valuable to the company, which may improve employee loyalty and productivity. This is based on an article published by Indeed editorial team 2021. So all of you guys who are actually or who have actually looked for a job online, you might have come across with Indeed, So one of the most reliable sites about workplace matters would be Indeed. According to Indeed, the first benefit of open workplace communication is that it can improve engagement. What does it try to tell us? Encouraging employees to express their thoughts and feelings openly can help them engage more. Which may increase their commitment to an organization, to an institution, to a company. What else? Highly engaged employees also tend to deliver better results. So you see, there's really good result. There's really good effect when we actually employ open workplace communication. Two is that it can promote, or it can strengthen team bonds. A workplace atmosphere where everyone openly communicates is typically more efficient. Open communication within teams can also lead to greater accountability from employees and help them realize that their work is important for the success of their team. It can enhance trust as well. So when there is open workplace communication, we can assure ourselves that our trust will grab one another. So sometimes we can send our message through email, Gmail, Zoom, or whatnot. So we have to know where to communicate. And sometimes they're also in this holding your teamwork and communication abilities. Your ability to communicate ideas and thoughts honestly in a professional setting will increase as your team collaboration skills, which will make cooperation seem more natural. Next one is talk face to face when you can. Well, talking face to face is presumably the most tried and true method of preventing misunderstandings. I myself believe in that. Speaking via video conferencing also works if your team is remote. Well, yeah, we have experienced that due to the pandemic. Well, if you anticipate a difficult task, face-to-face communication is especially crucial. It might be challenging to convey tone in writing, right? So it's great if your team member or anyone in your group can see your facial expressions and body language. A phone call might be used as a substitute for a video conference if your team is dispersed or distant. But there's such a thing as video conferencing weariness, and it may be especially challenging for distant teams to collaborate and communicate. When you talk on the phone with a team member, you can still hear their voice and some of the visual strain is reduced. Right. Next is watch your body language and tone of voice. It's not just about what do you say that matters in communication. I've always said this in my communication classes. It's not just about what you say that matters in communication. It's also how you say it. In fact, It's more of how you say it. So make sure you're not acting stern or crossing your arms when you are delivering your message. Your body language here, ladies and gents, may frequently have nothing to do with the circumstance. Perhaps you're exhausted or under stress from personal life. However, your colleagues, or the people who are listening to you or watching while you are delivering your message, who might not be aware of your situation, could see your behavior and infer that you are disturbed or furious. So, suggestion, try to relax your body so you can relax also your body language and facial emotions, especially during difficult tasks, to prevent unintentionally sending the wrong signals, which we do not want to happen in any communicative phenomenon we are in, right? Next is prioritize two-way communication. I've said this, but let me reiterate this, that in the workplace, listening is just as crucial to communication as talking. So listening to others' ideas rather than only attempting to share your own is a crucial component of working collaboratively with others. Listening to respond and listening to comprehend are two most prevalent styles of listening. When you listen to respond, you aren't listening to what the other person is saying. Rather, you're thinking about what you are gonna say next. But when you listen in this way, you run the danger of missing important details or even of repeating what the other person just said, because you are listening to respond, to rebut. Instead, make an effort to listen, to comprehend, to understand, which means you have to pay attention to what the other person is trying to say without formulating a response. Just try to listen to comprehend. If you do have anything to say, write it down so you can return to listen to comprehend rather than focusing on attempting to recall what you want to say next. It's just a give and take, case in the workplace. When someone speaks, listen. Okay? And when it's time for you to speak, speak. It's time for you to respond, respond. It's just about, prioritizing two-way communication. It's just about respecting each other's turn to speak and to listen. Next is to stick to facts and not stories. I'd like to emphasize how important it is to stick to facts and not stories. The facts in this situation are the things that actually occurred and on which everyone in the room might really agree. On the other side, a narrative is how you choose to see the circumstance. Here, for illustration, during a brief team meeting, for example, your boss offers you real-time feedback. It is true. Criticism caught you off guard and you believe that your boss shared it with you rather than reserving it for you one-on-one because they were unhappy with their job, because there is no way to verify whether something is genuine or not. It qualifies as a story. Well, stories are unavoidable. We all construct them using facts, but we have to make an effort to distinguish between stories and facts and hold off on acting on stories until you can verify them. I find this hilarious because in the workplace, gossiping is really prevalent. We try to strive as well in our own professional ways to avoid this. So we can avoid, destroying any relationship in the workplace for that matter. Next, make sure that we are speaking to the right person. Both who you're talking to and what you say matter in an effective professional communication. When you communicate to the wrong individuals, try to impart knowledge in the incorrect situation, poor communication frequently results. So we make sure the appropriate individuals are in the room, or getting the message to prevent this. Go through an activity to find any significant project stakeholders, for example, that could be absent if you are unsure of who that would be. Just an example. So these are just some of the tips that we can apply in order for us to assure effective communication in the workplace. Lastly, let me try to share with you some ways to build leadership communication skills. Well, whether we are in the business realm or in the education realm or wherever that is, there is always leadership. So when we are given the opportunity to lead a certain group, say, for example, a team of teachers, a team of businessmen, or whatever, there are instances when we are supposed to really exert our ways to, our ways to communicate well. So these are some of the ways we can adapt so we can build leadership communication skills. Because, as a team leader, you have the authority to develop and set communication norms. Strong communication may create an engaging workplace environment. It can foster employee trust, and it can dissolve, chaos amongst cross-functional teams. So number one here is, as a leader, strive to address any underlying changes. Make sure there are no underlying difficulties preventing everyone from talking honestly before you begin to improve your team's communication ability. We ask the questions like, does everyone feel at ease speaking honestly? Is there anything that could prevent a team member from being fully themselves? Making sure that your team members feel at ease coming to work in their entirety is one of the most beneficial things you can do as a leader, or as much of themselves as they want to bring. So we make sure to comprehend each team's members' requirements and make sure they are being addressed in the team setting, whether that means encouraging them to express their differences or discussing their interests outside of work, or being honest about the kind of communication that works best for them. As a leader, that is actually one of our tasks. 2 is to frequently ask for feedback. You might never obtain feedback on your communication style if you don't ask for it, right? Ask. If you want to learn something, ask. Basic. So here, team members might not instantly see communication as something to offer feedback on, despite the fact that it affects all interactions at work. So you can keep getting better and create effective communication tactics for your team by getting inputs on your communication style from your staff. Ask if you're actually, doing a great job. If you have done something that needs correction, something you have done that has hurt them, ask. After all, we want our teams, we want our institutions to grow together, right? So as a team, we have to move forward. So ask each other's feedbacks as to how we can develop our leadership skills, and that will create an impact in our organization or institution. 3, understand team communication styles. Asking your staff how they want to be communicated with is another efficient strategy here for leaders. Knowing upfront whether your team members prefer video conferences or phone conversations, early morning meetings, or afternoon Zoom sessions will help you establish an atmosphere where they can thrive, where they can flourish, where they can succeed, right? So important questions to ask include, are they an early bird or night owl? Do they like structured meetings, prefer free flow brainstorming messages or sessions? What type of meetings or tasks are most energizing for them, and those and these and that type of questions. Next is make time for team building or icebreakers. Here we have to know how to interact with our team And this will require that we get to know them. Making time to get to know our colleagues outside of the office is actually very crucial. Consider opening with a light conversation before going into your meeting agenda, since icebreaker questions may add personality and excitement to any meeting. Right. And lastly, as a leader, we make sure that we set the tone. Keep in mind that our team will be affected by the way we interact and communicate, with them. You need to establish as leader the bar for open and transparent communication in the workplace. We need that. Our team will adhere to this standard after it has been established and communicated. Make a note to check on how everyone is doing with team communication every few months. They ask the questions: do you wish to support or discourage any new behaviors that have emerged in the previous several months? You set the tone. You may be more deliberate about your communication techniques by thinking about how your team communicates on a regular basis, as opposed to setting and forgetting your team's procedures. So at this point, I believe we have enlightened ourselves on the 5 objectives. We have defined workplace communication, identified elements of good communication, determined benefits of open workplace communication, discussed tips for effective communication in the workplace, and elaborated ways to build leadership communication skills. Before I end my presentation today, allow me to leave you with this quote from Zig Ziglar. In many ways, effective communication begins with mutual respect. Communication that inspires, communication that encourages others to do their best. It is my hope and prayer that this lecture will propel us to develop ourselves as better communicators, so we can create communication in the workplace that can inspire and encourage people around us to do their best. I think I have worded enough. Thank you very much for listening. I am very much honored to be with you all today. Have a nice day and mabuhay.
Naka-unmute ka po, Doc Romy. On ang mo. Mic mo po. Naka-unmute ka po, Doc. Doc, hindi namin ikaw marinig. Paki-on ang mic mo. Naka-unmute ka po.
Sir Romy, na-unmute po yung natin.
Mic mo. Paki-on.
Okay na po?
Okay na.
Okay na, ma'am?
Okay na. Sige na, start.
Okay, thank you for sharing with us to Dr. Henry E. Limana. And now let's give the certificate of recognition is awarded to Dr. Henry E. Limana II for being the keynote speaker during the 3D of the first International Multidisciplinary Webinar Series of Authors and Writers Guild Beyond Books Publication, August 26 to 28, 2022, with the theme, Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development, given this 20th day of August 2022 at Macabebe, Pampanga. Signed, Dr. Leonelo B. Capolso, Book Beyond Book Publication CEO President, signed Ms. Wari S. Baculod, Author and Writers Guild President, signed Professor Rainia Lampu, Astronomy and Space Company, Athens, Greece. Sir,
Proceed na, Doc.
so let's proceed now to our third speakers. Our keynote speaker for today, he is a secondary teacher of Camp Crami High School, SDO Quezon City, where he teaches in junior high school. He finished 2-year course computer programming at Isabela State University, Cabagan. He graduated also with a bachelor degree and secondary education major in social science at Cagayan. He is now writing his thesis and Master of Arts in teaching major in social studies at the University of Rizal System, Antipolo. He finished also an international diploma in instructional leadership in the International Institute of Influencer affiliated with Crown University International Chartered Incorporated. He had participated in various demonstration teaching events. He was selected as one of the district demonstration teachers in Filipino in the National Demonstration Teaching Contest, where he received an award as Outstanding Demonstration Teacher in Social Studies, and in Paraling Panlipunan District Demonstration Teaching Contest, where he was a judge, second place. He also speaks at different educational conferences as a resource speaker at school-based during LAC sessions and INSET, district seminars, national conferences, and seminars in a private institution. He is a recipient of Outstanding Teacher in Social Science for the second Luminary Excellence in Education and Research Award, and a Beyond Books Publication Awardee of Huwarang Guro sa larangan ng pagtuturo and Outstanding Global Educator for Book Author category. He wrote various articles that were published in the school paper and Quezon City Local Government Book, in Art Prof Magazine and Global Scientific Journal, and co-authored a reference book, Philippine Politics and Governance. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our third keynote speaker, no other than Sir Erwin M. Taginod. Sir?
I will try to, Sir Romy, I will try to play the video of Sir Erwin. Pag hindi po, stop share po ako and i-play ko po yung video niya. Pero dito parang ayaw po eh. So stop share ko po muna. Stop share ko muna, then I will play the video of Sir Erwin.
Opo. Yes, ma'am.
Wait lang po. Ayaw pa din.
A pleasant day to all who are joining this first international.
Nakikita na
Okay
po
na.
ba, sir?
Opo, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay na po, ma'am.
Okay, we will play na.
A
Opo.
pleasant day to all who are joining this first international
How about
multidisciplinary
the sound po, Sir
webinar
Romy?
series
Okay na po.
with the theme
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Rising
Thank you so
Beyond
much
the
po.
Pandemic,
Opo.
ensuring
Nawala po.
Nawala.
Nawala po. Wait lang na paano yung ano natin.
a pleasant day to all who are joining this first
Okay na, ma'am.
international multidisciplinary webinar series with the theme Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development, spearheaded by the ever humble, capable, and able Dr. Leonilo B. Capulso. I am one of your plenary speakers on this third day of the said webinar, and I am a pleasant day to all who are joining this first international multidisciplinary webinar series with the theme Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development, spearheaded by the ever humble, capable, and able Dr. Leonilo.
Ano nangyari? Ma'am Kayla, ano nangyari? Mag-unmute lang po sana ako.
Day
Pa-advance na lang
who
po
are
ng
joining
konti.
this first international multidisciplinary webinar series with the theme Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development, spearheaded by the ever humble, capable, and able Dr. Leonilo B. Capulso. I am one of your plenary speakers on this third day of the said webinar, and I am delightful to share with you this topic titled Gamifying Learning, featuring interactive slides. Of course, we will set first our objective, our aim to achieve the target. First objective is defining the gamification in the context of education. Second, appreciate the benefits of gamification in the classroom. And third and last, simulate the delivery of a gamified lesson using Microsoft PowerPoint. Before we go to the other key concepts and salient points of this topic, let us first define what is gamification. So, as the name implies, it is the process of transferring some of the good features of a game to a different activity, such as studying. Meaning to say, any game, would it be a traditional or a game that is trending nowadays, a game that we see in a segment broadcast in a television, or a game in a mobile app, that good features of that particular game, we put it into something engaging. We transfer the good features of that game inside our inside the classroom, okay, in the delivery of our lesson. That one is already a gamifying a lesson. And gamifying a lesson have a positive aspects, okay, which is making it fun. So aside from requiring the students to learn a particular topic, it is also a must for us as an educator to make that particular topic a fun learning for them. And therefore, if we make it fun, it have a great impact of enticing the game players. The game players that we are talking about here is the learner, okay, or our students to participate in the activity. Second definition or second meaning of gamification, accordingly, as stated in the book written by Kim and other scholars in 2018, gamification is to change something that is not a game through a game or its elements. For example, in recalling a particular lesson or a recap of the topic, we used to ask the student to enumerate what he or she remembered in the previously discussed lesson. Why not make it a game that is something engaging or enticing for them? So later on, I'll be showing a one example of a game which we could use it in recalling, okay, or a recap of the past lesson. Another one, the paper and pencil test, the traditional pen and paper test, okay, or the quiz. So we ask the students to bring out a paper and answer the following questions. Why not make also a game for that quiz? Okay? So they are having fun, and while having fun, they are actively answering or participating on that quiz. So gamification can be a means to engage employees. The employees that we are referring here are our clienteles, the learners. Okay? So they are engaged in tasks. They in gamification, it promote collaboration. Another, it improve motivation. So due to its fun and playful nature, gamification can be a good solution to help solve learner engagement and participation issues in the classroom. This is actually the dilemma, okay, of every teacher, of every educator. To sustain the motivation to have this voluntary collaboration, to engage them, to feel to our learners that they should participate in the classroom. So through gamification, this could be a good solution, okay, to solve those issues inside our classroom. Another is in the book written again by Kim, titled Gamification in Learning and Education, Enjoy Learning Like Gaming. They define gamification in learning and education as follows. 1, a set of activities and processes. So that means from the beginning up to the end of our lesson, in the delivery of our lesson, let's try our best effort to have a set of activities and, of course, explain them, tell them, provide to our learners the processes, the instruction, how it is being done inside the classroom. Number 2, definition of gamification in learning and education is to solve problems related to learning and education. So this is the very essence, actually, of gamification. Solving problems related to learning and education, which is, as I mentioned a while ago, the issues, the participation issues, the engagement issues, the motivation issues. So through gamification, we could actually solve these problems related to learning and education. And then number 3 is by using or applying the game mechanics. Of course, this game mechanics is very important, okay, to guide our learners as we deliver or execute our lesson inside the classroom. Let us now proceed to the next salient points of gamifying learning. Let us see these benefits of gamification in education. So what are the benefits of gamification in education? First, students feel like they have ownership over their learning. So there's no room for intimidations, okay, for being hesitant, being shy, because they have the ownership, okay, to learn. This sense of feeling that they are excited to learn the lesson because of gamification. So that's one benefit. Next is a more relaxed atmosphere in regards to failure, since learners can simply try again. So our students can try all over again. Okay, chances are always there to try in case that they fail to give the right answer, because gamification is providing them the chance to try again. For example, for this activity, they fail to give the correct answer. On the next activity, on the next gamified lesson, they could try again, and hopefully in the succeeding activities, the students may now able to provide the right answer. C, similar or tantamount to letter B, having a fun atmosphere in the classroom. Letter D, learning becomes visible through progress indicators. Example of this, when we use a web-based gamifications, just like Kahoot, just like Quizalize and other web-based, they could see the progress indicators there. Most especially if we talk about the leaderboards. So where are they? In the leaderboards is the student A is leading, is the student B is the second, student B is the third, and so on and so forth. Letter E, students may uncover an intrinsic motivation for learning. So again, since they have the ownership over their learning, the intrinsic motivation may uncover. So our students have this participation or motivation inside the classroom that is really innate to them. Then letter F, students can explore different identities through different avatars or characters. Again, if we use a web-based application, for example, of a web-based application or web-based gamification, Kahoot, we have the Kahoot, we have the ClassPoint, and other interactive gamified or gamification, web-based gamification. Students can actually choose different avatars or characters representing them. Letter G is higher engagement and concentration levels amongst students. So this is again what we expect in gamification. The higher engagement and concentration levels amongst students. And lastly is the opportunity to think outside of the box. So while they are having fun, while they are enjoying, students have this opportunity to think outside of the box or beyond their comfort zones inside the classroom. Now, let us proceed to the exciting part of this topic, to simulate with you the processes, how it is being done, the execution or the delivery of a gamified learning through these interactive slides using the Microsoft PowerPoint. una po ay itong Ginoo at Binibini Q&A. Kung ito po ay pamilyar ay dahil isa po ito sa sikat din na segment sa isang variety show o noontime show na It's Showtime. Ginamit po natin itong Ginoo at Binibini Q&A sa loob ng klase, ngunit ito po ay nagkaroon ng ilang mga modifications para po bumagay o umakma sa atin pong dinidiscuss na paksa. Ang Ginoo at Binibini Q&A ay tagisan po ito ng talino, maglalaban po ang mga kalalakihan at ang mga kababaihan. Kaya po ito ay tinawag natin na Ginoo at Binibini Q&A. Hayaan niyo po ako na ipakita kung paano po ito isasagawa sa loob ng klase. So dito po sa Ginoo at Binibini Q&A, meron pong ifa-flash na tanong ang guro. Halimbawa po, ang una pong pumindot ng buzzer o kaya po nagtaas ng kamay ay ang mga Ginoo. Bibigyan po sila ng 5 segundo para ito po ay sagutin. So pipindutin po ang timer. Okay. So ganoon din po ang mangyayari sa Binibini kapag sila naman po ay may kasagutan. Okay. Maaari po nating limitahan ang tanong sa 3 lamang, okay? 3 items. Pwede po itong gamitin sa atin pong recap of the past lesson. Pwede rin naman po sa motivation. Every time na nagsasagot po o nakasagot ng tama ang Ginoo o ang Binibini, ay pwede po natin silang bigyan ng puntos sa pamagitan po ng pagpapaikot ng roleta ng karunungan. So pipindutin lang po natin itong salita na paikutin, okay, itong button na ito. Ayan po, iikot ang roleta at nakatapat po dito sa arrow na ito ng puntos na nakakuha po sila ng 4 points. So ganun po, babalik lang po ulit sa tanong hanggang sa maisagawa po ang lahat ng mga katanungan o masagot ang lahat ng katanungan. Okay, sumunod naman ay mayroon din po tayo isang sikat din ito na laro sa mobile app. Ito naman po ay ang 4 Picks 1 Word. Pwede po ito sa mga teacher sa elementary, okay, dahil madali lang po itong isagawa. Pwede rin po itong gamitin sa mga grade 7 students. So katulad ng 4 Picks 1 Word sa atin pong mobile phones, ganun din po, meron silang makikita na 4 na mga larawan. At ang 4 na larawan ay kailangan po nila mabigyan ng isang salita kung ano po ang tinutukoy rito. Dito, ang paksa po dito ay economics. Okay, economics po ang tinutukoy dyan. So first picture, eco, then pangalawang picture po is no, pangatlong picture po ay mix, and then kung makikita po ang mga sa pangkalahatan na ang isang palatandaan o patunay na malago ang ekonomiya sa pamamagitan po ng mga nagtataasang buildings. Okay, so ito po ay economics. Samantala, pwede rin naman po nating i-modify pa ito para naman sa mga higher grades. So ito naman po ay tatawagin natin na 4 Picks, 4 Words, 1 Concept. Meaning to say, the teacher will show 4 pictures and each picture, okay, each photo there is a corresponding word, okay, for that picture. And then pagkatapos mabigyan ng 4 na salita doon sa 4 na larawan na pinakita, ano yung konsepto na tinutukoy? Halimbawa, katulad po nito. So, pag nakita ng mag-aaral, pipindutin po ng guro ang 5 segundo. Okay, so pagkatapos po ng 5 seconds, ibibigay po ng mag-aaral ang kanya pong naging kasagutan. So dito po ay teknolohiya. Same goes sa second picture. Ang tamang sagot po dyan ay K-drama. Third picture po, ang tamang sagot po dyan ay transportasyon. Pang-4 na larawan po, ang tamang sagot po niyan ay sakit. Ano ngayon po ang kanilang mahihinuha? Okay? Ano po ang mai-infer ng mga mag-aaral out of those 4 pictures and 4 words given? So ang konsepto po o ang paksa na tatalakayin po dito ay globalisasyon. So ito po ay pwede rin pong gamitin sa loob ng klase. Maaari po ang mga nakita na ay gagamitin sa synchronous sa online class. Pwede po ito. Pwede rin po sa isang face-to-face class. Sumunod, nariyan din po ang gallery naman. So katulad sa atin pong cellphone, kapag pinindot po yung gallery app, meron po yung camera folder, downloads folder, screenshots folder, at iba-iba pang folder na naroon po ang mga larawan. Dito po, under camera folder, lalabas po dyan ang isang mukha. Okay, o isang larawan din. Okay. Maaari rin na naman po na ang guro, option po yan kung siya po ay mayroong timer, which is 5 seconds, o kaya naman po ay wala. Ngunit para sa akin, mas maganda kung meron pong timer ang isang activity para agad po na makapag-isip ang mga bata at mag-uunahan po ang mga mag-aaral sa pag-iisip ng tamang kasagutan. So ang tamang sagot dito po sa camera folder ay physical na anyo. Sa downloads folder naman po, katulad niyan, ang tinutukoy po dyan ay ang trabaho, okay, na nagpapakita na kapag lalaki, mas mataas ang posisyon sa isang trabaho kaysa po sa mga babae. And then sa screenshots folder naman, ang tinutukoy po dyan ay ang edukasyon. At sa pang-4, which is sa share it folder, ito naman po tumutukoy sa relihiyon at kultura. Okay, ito po ay paksa sa grade 10, ngunit maaari na naman po itong baguhin, o may freedom po ito na mabago, depende po kung ano ang paksang tinatalakay. Applicable po ito again both in a synchronous, okay, in an online class and also in a face-to-face class.
Marami ang mapanghusga. Marami ang machika. Dito, hindi yan uubra. Dahil bawal judgmental.
Okay, ito naman po ay isang sikat din na segment sa Itbulaga na bawal judgmental. Ito po ay maaari ring gamitin na iaangkop natin sa paksang tatalakayin at maging din sa atin pong mga audience o ang atin pong mga mag-aaral. Sa puntong ito, ang mga mag-aaral po dito ay nasa grade 10. At ang paksa po nila ay patungkol po sa kasarian at sexualidad. So makikita po dyan, katulad din sa Itbulaga, ang mga iba't ibang personalities o ang iba't ibang mga mukha. Okay? And then meron po yung mga tanong at sa bawat tanong ay kailangan po na masagot ito ng tama. Okay. So first question po, sino-sino ang mga personalidad sa larawan? So tatanungin ang mga mag-aaral kung kilala po ba nila ang mga artista na yan o ang mga personalidad na nakikita po nila. Tapos i-reveal din po kung sino-sino po sila. Okay, syempre nariyan po yung pinakasikat po na tunog. Okay, pagkatapos po ng laging pag-usisa sa mga personalidad, yung term o yung word po na ang tanong. Ganun po yun.
Ang tanong!
Okay. So pagkatapos po ng ang tanong, i-reveal na ngayon kung kilala po ba nila ang bawat isa. So katulad niyan, nandyan po si Ice bilang Aiza Sigera noon, Tito Boy, Team Yap, Jake Zyrus, Vice Ganda, Ate Glow, at hanggang kay Ellen po. Pangalawang tanong, ganun muli po. Sino-sino sa kanila ang kasal sa kanilang partner as our second question. So let the students think kung sino-sino po ang kasal. Pipili po sila sa mga nakita nila na larawan o na mga personalidad dyan. Siyempre, nariyan po yung sikat na
Ang tanong!
ang tanong. I-reveal po natin ang sikat na mga personalidad na meron pong asawa o kasal sa kanilang partner. Okay. Then, same goes po sa third question. Sino sa kanila ang may stepdaughter?
Ang tanong!
Ganun din po, okay, bibigyan natin ng tamang kasagutan pagkatapos po na ibigay ang kanilang mga paunang mga hinuha o kaya naman po ay hula ng ating mga mag-aaral. Okay, sa puntong ito, ang tamang sagot po ay si Aiza Sigera. Okay, next po, the gamified learning na ipapakita ko sa inyo ay ito. Okay, feeling lucky. Familiar again po because this is another segment before in its showtime, noontime show. Okay. Sa feeling lucky, pipili po ng numero o ng number ang tatawagin na mag-aaral. Halimbawa, dito po sa number 3, sa ating purple box, pagkapindot po niyan, lalabas ang isang tanong. At kapag nahulaan nila ang tamang sagot, naibigay ang tamang sagot, dahil nga po feeling lucky, lalabas po dito ang dalawang sikat na personalidad o tao doon sa feeling lucky. Kung maalala po si Jeannie Pon at si Jeannie nga. Kaya halimbawa, nagbigay po ng maling sagot ang mag-aaral, pindutin po natin itong Kingdom of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Sawadika!
Ito po ang lalabas. Ibig sabihin po, mali ang ibinigay na sagot ng mag-aaral. Kaya po, babalik tayo dun sa tanong at syempre ito po ang tamang sagot.
Akin ang banga na ito.
Ito naman po ang lalabas.
Kaya
ako ay
pinalayas ko na ang illegal settler.
Tumpak ang sagot po ng bata. Hanggang sa matapos po ang lahat ng mga tanong. Ito po ay applicable po sa high school, maging po sa senior high school. And even sa college, pwede rin po. And also, maaring gamitin ito, again, sa online class at saka po sa face-to-face class. Pagkatapos po niyan, pwede rin po tayong gumamit katulad nito, ngunit pambata naman. Okay, pambata naman, So ito po ay ang tawag po dito sa larong ito naman ay mystery squares. Okay, mystery squares. Ito naman po imbes na Genie Pon at Genie nga katulad ng nakita kanina, which is the personalities nga po sa Feeling Lucky sa It's Showtime. Ang lalabas naman po dito kapag nahulaan ng tama ay ang mga tauhan sa Doraemon. Okay, halimbawa, pindutin po natin itong hularawan number 3, which is may katumbas po ito na 2 points. Pindutin po natin itong 2 points. Magpapakita po ang tanong. So dito po ang tinatanong, ano yung ginamit na pang-uri sa pangungusap? Okay, halimbawa, ang sagot po ng bata ay modelo, which is the wrong answer. Ayan po, ang lalabas ay si damulag. Okay, ganon din po. Kapag napili rin po itong letter A na mali rin, ang lalabas po ay si Nobita na umiiyak din. Mali rin po yan. Kung halimbawa sagutin po ng bata letter D, mali rin po yan. Okay, si Soneo po. Samantala kapag napili si letter C, okay, na tamang sagot, yan po ang lalabas, si Doraemon. Okay, hanggang sa matapos po ang lahat ng mga nasa mystery squares. Then since mystery nga po, sa likod ng mga parisukat na yon ay meron pong huhulaan na tao, sikat na tao po o sikat na personalidad. So pipindutin po natin itong icon o emoji sa gitna. So ang hularawan po natin dito ay si Alden Richards. Okay. So ito po ay akma po para sa ating mga mag-aaral sa elementary. Okay. Ito naman, dahil mahilig ang ating mga mag-aaral sa emoticons, okay, sa mga emojis, kaya naisip ko po gumawa ng emote control. Okay, sa synchronous class, sa online class, pwede po ito. So magpapakita lang ang guro ng larawan at ano ang emoji, okay, o emoticon na gusto na ilagay o nararamdaman ng bata. Ita-type lang po nila doon sa chat box o isi-send doon po sa chat box. So kaya po ito ay tinawag din na emote control. Okay? So ipapakita yung mga larawan and then let them decide kung ano po yung nararamdaman nila, okay, na emoticon. Ito po ba ay like, heart, love, haha, okay, wow, sad, or angry. Okay. So I think yun po yung mga ilan sa mga nalikha ko po na gamified learning or a gamified PowerPoint. Maaari po tayong gumawa din basta po tayo ay marunong sa PowerPoint. Kailangan lamang po ng tiyaga, ng pasensya at syempre po oras. Okay, ilaan po natin ng oras para po makagawa ng katulad ng mga nakita po kanina. Now bilang panghuli, okay, to end my presentation, the delivery of my topic, I would like to quote this. Okay, my day ko lang. Gusto kong i-my day ko lang at sana i-my day din po ng ibang mga attendees po, okay, mga fellow educators natin ngayon, na ang kahusayan ng isang guro ay di nasusukat sa layo ng narating, kundi sa lalim ng bakas na naiwan. Okay? So, pakatandaan po natin, remember that an outstanding teacher or an exemplary teacher, an educator po na kahanga-hanga, na admirable po, ay hindi ito nakikita sa layo ng kanyang narating. Ibig sabihin, hindi po ito nakikita dun sa posisyon at hindi rin po ito nakikita sa dami ng kanyang inaral. Kung hindi po sa bakas na naiwan niya, sa lalim ng bakas na naiwan niya sa kanyang mga mag-aaral. Yung attachment niya po doon sa bata. At yung bata, gaano po ba siya kamahal, okay, nung bata, si teacher. So yun po ang quote ko for today. With that, okay, I would like to say thank you and keep safe always. Stay healthy po. Thank you so much.
Okay, stop share ko po muna, Sir Romy. Then share ko yung
Certificate.
certificate. Yes. No, it's not this one. Yung certificate ni Sir Erwin. Nakikita na po ba yung certificate ni Sir Erwin?
Yes po.
Okay. Slide share natin. Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Kyla. Sir Romy, nasaan na si Sir Romy? Sir Romy.
Dito pa rin ako, ma'am.
Okay. Tapos na po, Sir Erwin. You may read po the certificate of recognition.
Okay po, ma'am. Okay. Certificate of recognition
Yes,
is
sir.
awarded to... Hello? Okay. Certificate of recognition is awarded to Sir Erwin M. Taginud for being the keynote speaker during the 3-day of the first International Multidisciplinary Webinar Series of Authors and Writers Guild Beyond Books Publication, August 26 to 28, 2022. With the theme, Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development. Given this 20th day of August 2022 at Makabibi, Pampanga. Signed, Dr. Muhatamina, Faculty Universitas. Signed, Dr. Lionelo B. Capolso, Beyond Book Publication CEO President. Signed, Minsowari S. Pakulod, Author and Writers Guild President. And signed, Professor Rania Lampu, Astronomy and Space Company, Athens, Greece. Ma'am?
Okay, next.
Proceed na daw.
Okay. Ako na po, Sir Romy.
Yes, ma'am. Wait lang po. Hanapin ko pa yung ano. Andyan na, ma'am. Okay. Our last but not the least speaker for our 3D seminar is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Nursing and earned her Master of Arts in Nursing in 2009, major in Nursing Administration and Management. She has earned units on Doctor of Philosophy and Nursing Education at Holy Angel University, the former chief nurse of Pampanga Premier Medical Center. Now, she is a senior high school master teacher at Sukat National High School, Schools Division of Pampanga, Region 3. She teaches Earth and Life Science, Physical Science, and Practical Research. She also completed her academic requirements for administration and supervision. She is also an international guest lecturer at Colorado Global School, Colorado, USA. She was a People's Choice Global Awards 2018 awardee and conferred by the World Christian Fellowship Ministry jointly with the University of Oklahoma an honorary doctoral degree in humanities. For her instructional leadership, she aims to inspire students on the value of education and public service, creating a vision to provide change and inspiration to the learners. As a researcher, she has her proud for the love of research. She co-authored several published books such as Compendium of Research Proposals, Inquiries, Investigation, and Immersion, and Practical Research too, all under Beyond Books publication. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our last speaker, Ma'am Arlene Tominis Carlos. Ma'am.
Thank you po, Sir Romy.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop share ko po muna para mai-share ko yung aking slide. Paano kaya ito? Ayan po. Nakikita na po ba yung slide? Thank you po, Sir Romy. And saan na po yung ating slideshow?
Nakita na, ma'am.
Ma'am Kayla, hindi ko makita yung aking slideshow. Paki-slideshow na lang yung ating slide. Ayan, approve ko na lang. Thank you so much po. And before we start, thank you Beyond Books Publications, especially our CEO and President, Sir Leonilo Capulso, and to the technical working group of Beyond Books of the first multidisciplinary conference webinar series here, Miss Kayla, and yung bago nating mga committee sa ating conference today. Sir M, thank you for the suggestion of my topic today. Maraming salamat po, Sir M. And for the ever supportive friend here, maski wala po siya dito sa ating conference, ay nanonood naman po si Ma'am Cyril. Maski na nasaan man o ano man yung activities ni Beyond Books Publication, ay nandyan lang siya para suportahan ang ating program. Maraming salamat po. And to the new friends of Beyond Books Publication, thank you so much for participating in our conference. Okay, so my topic here, teaching strategies and approach on hybrid and high flex learning. I am Arlene Tominas Carlos, Master Teacher of Sukad National High School in Region 3. Now, for the 2 years through the COVID pandemic, we have seen different educational institutions responding to the challenging situation by offering flexible learning modalities. After 2 years, most of the areas of the country are now categorized as alert level 1, or we are now in low risk status. That is why meron po tayong status dito. By August 25, 2022, new cases of COVID-19 infected were 3,037, and it was very low compared to the previous months. Okay. For the outline of our topic for today, we should know how or what is hybrid and high flex teaching. We should know also the view of education or Philippine education towards high flex setup in the new normal, approaches to hybrid and high flex teaching, and what our researchers say on hybrid high flex teaching. Short lang pong sharing po ito at kailangan na matapos na po tayo dahil alam ko gutom na po kayo. And to continue, hybrid teaching refers to learning that integrates complementary face-to-face or the synchronous na tinatawag po natin, and online learning which is asynchronous experiences in service of intended learning objectives. Asynchronous, ito po yung minimit natin yung estudyante virtually. Okay. And that is hybrid teaching. Hybrid teaching also became much more common during the COVID-19 pandemic when school districts limited classroom sizes and gave parents the choice of whether to have their children attend in class or from home. This was the time that the parent decide if the children or their children will undergo on modular learning or online learning. However, this model is sticking around because it offers a variety of benefits to schools, teachers, students, and at the same time to working parents. High flex teaching or hybrid flexible is a learning method that combines elements of hybrid and blended learning into a flexible course framework that allows students to attend classroom sessions, participate online, or do both. That is from National Education Association in 2021. And the modes of learning evolve on the application of practices in pre-pandemic and pandemic period. And Bulacan State University is one of them, and other universities in Central Luzon. They are practicing the high flex teaching. Now, there are some hybrid tools that we may use here, and we have the virtual learning environment. So, ito yung environment na kailangan nating i-ready or i-set up during our schedule for the virtual meeting for our students, no? And student engagement, ito yung katatapos lang ni Sir Erwin na i-discuss, just like Kahoot, or ano pa yung mga, their viewers, ano pa yung mga pwedeng student gawin nating student engagement during our classroom teaching or classroom lesson? Sir Romy, can you give one? Or anyone from the viewers, ano yung pwede nating gawing student engagement aside from Kahoot? So, student engagement is a platform to help create fun learning games in minutes or choose from millions of existing ones to introduce new topics, review, and reinforce knowledge and run formative assessment. Ito yung mga student engagement or games na naipakita kanina ni Sir Erwin. Ano-ano po yung mga games na yon? Give me one. Ma'am Donabel? Ano po yung natatandaan ninyo na sinabi ni Sir Erwin po kanina? Paki-unmute po para marinig po natin yung sagot ninyo.
Huwag judgmental.
Oh, wag judgmental. Yes, or bawal judgmental. Thank you, Ma'am Rosana. Or Ma'am Donabel, ano po? Paki-unmute po.
Q&A po.
Ano po?
Q&A. Question and answer.
Yes, pwede po yun, no? Sir Romy. Paki-unmute po yung ano natin. Yes po, Sir Romy. Biglang nagising yung mga viewers natin. Yes po, Ma'am Shamil. Ang dami nila.
Feeling lucky, Mom.
Feeling lucky o feeling lucky. Okay, very good. How about Ma'am Lorena?
For picture, one word. For picks, one word.
Yes, for picks, one word. And Ma'am Jeline?
Ularawan po.
Ularawan? And another one. Yes, Sir. Sir or Sir Rem?
Feeling lucky.
Feeling lucky. Ma'am Lorena, very good. Yes, Ma'am Lorena, another one. Kung meron pa po. Sir Leopoldo, yes po.
Answer the while ago na, Ma'am. For
Okay.
picks, one word.
Okay po. Sir Leopoldo, meron pa po?
4 picks, 4 word, 1 concept.
Okay, 4 picks, 4 word, 1 concept. Very good. Lahat po yan ay tama. Lahat po ng sinagot po ninyo ay tama. And we have communication also. Ito po yung ating part na kailangan na makausap natin yung mga estudyante natin through virtual. Katulad po ng ginagawa natin ngayon, no, sa ating conference, we have the Zoom and the Google Classroom or the Google Meet na sinasabi natin o tinatawag. Okay, next one. So there are some benefits also of hybrid learning. We have the flexibility. Yes. Flexibility, hybrid learning, you can access your course anywhere and on any device, meaning that you can choose how and where you want to study. Flexible. Maski saan ka, kung nasa mall ka, o nasa bahay ka, or nasa office. Hybrid learning classes also allow students to work around current employment, developing valuable skills. So we can practice also our skills maski na po nasaan tayo at kung ano yung natututunan natin during our virtual class, no? And we have also another benefits here, the better work-life balance. Ano kaya yung better work-life balance? The split of home working and college-based learning enables the students to have a healthy balance between working life and their personal life. So for a working mother like me, or just like the others na merong anak na inaalagaan or merong anak na binabantayan, so pwede po siyang mag-aral for this particular hour at pipiliin niya na itong araw na ito o itong oras na ito para makagawa naman siya ng maganda at matututunan niya yung kanyang pinag-aaralan this particular day or hour, no, or time. Tapos mahalagaan po niya yung kanyang anak. Another one, cost effective. Another benefits of hybrid learning. The ability to learn from home more frequently ultimately allows learner to save money because they will not travel. Cost effective also for those who have children, as less money will be spent on childcare. Ayan, cost effective daw on the part of a working mother or working parents kasi hindi na nila ipapaalaga ang kanilang mga anak. Ayan. At yung mga estudyante naman, cost effective on their part because they will not travel. Hindi na po sila mamamasahe, hindi na po sila manghihingi ng baon sa kanilang mga parents, no? They will just stay at home and learn their lesson. And another benefits here is support. Students attend college on a regular basis where their learning is supported through group exercises and classroom-based learning. The session in college enable learners to have discussion with an experienced professor where they have the freedom to ask questions. Ayan. So one of the benefits of hybrid learning is support because from that particular moment or particular day na report ang mga estudyante face-to-face, they are allowed to ask questions personally from their professor or from their teacher. Another one, preparation for the future. Okay. So, preparation for the future, hybrid learning offers a multitude of tangible skills that can also easily translate into life skills. These skills are inclusive of research skills, self-learning, self-engagement, where students become more driven and responsible, decision-making and technology literacy, where the use of e-learning materials increases the learner's ability to use computer. Aminado po ako dyan dahil yung anak ko mas magaling pa sa akin operate ng computer. That is why kaninang umaga as we practice the presentation with Ma'am Kayla, tuwang-tuwa ako kasi may natutunan pa din ako doon sa mga tinuro niya sa akin kanina. Ma'am, pindutin mo ito. Ma'am, pindutin mo yan. I-click mo ito, i-click mo yan. Ayan. So, tuwang-tuwa naman ako at may natutunan din ako. So, ang edad po natin ay hindi hindrance para matuto tayo para sa e-learning. Okay, next one. What is that Philippine education set up in high-flex learning in the new normal? So according to Art Fuentes in ABS-CBN News posted last March 23, 2022, meron po tayo dyan na sinabi. Before the opening of classes, Philippine educational system is moving towards a high-flex or hybrid and flexible setup where educators and students do not need to be physically in the same room all the time to learn. As the government slowly allows schools to resume face-to-face classes as COVID-19 infections decline, the general manager of Lenovo, Michael Ngan, said education will not likely be going back to purely physical classes. High-flex will stick in the new normal, and one challenge for educators like us they see on the implementation of hybrid learning setup is ensuring that students who go to classes online will have the same level of engagement as those in-person classes. Right now, the high-flex learning has been implemented by the universities of the Philippines under Under Department of Education, also some schools in Cluster 7, sa Schools Division of Pampanga, may Cluster 7 din po kami. I belong to Cluster 6 at some of the schools in Cluster 7, most likely they have their high flex teaching approach. They have the particular day, 3 days face-to-face and 2 days online. So, yung kung natatandaan po ninyo, ganun po yung first plan ng Department of Education. They have the time for online teaching and there will be a time for face-to-face, limited face-to-face. Pero dahil nag-try na tayo ng limited face-to-face at wala namang incidents ng COVID-19 infection and they go for face-to-face na. Kaya tayo ngayon, kami sa Schools Division of Pampanga in Cluster 6, sa school po namin, face-to-face na po yung ginagamit naming approach. So another one is the blended learning or the B-Learn required into laboratory courses. Ito yung isang approach sa high-flex learning or high-flex teaching. B-Learn in the university allows the students to attend on-campus classes once a week for their laboratory classes, while asynchronous online learning or AOL for their lecture classes. Kayo po ba, their viewers, meron ba kayong B-Learn? So required po ba yung estudyante ninyo for asynchronous and online teaching na ginagawa po natin, which is the B-Learn. But for some universities, students or college students are required to report to their university when they have to perform their laboratory activities. Ayan. Kaya tinawag nilang B-Learn. Another one is asynchronous online learning or the AOL, in which students required to purely lecture or they have the theory on their subject or the theoretical lesson on their particular subject, which is asynchronous online learning allows students to learn on their own time and in a set amount of time. This modality, which is implemented during the pandemic, will continue to be retained but with modification. Okay. And by other universities, the practice of asynchronous online now is to provide learning materials for the students to study in advance. What is the benefit of this asynchronous online learning? The students will be able to have their study or they can study their lesson in advance. Ayan. So dahil binigay na ni professor yung kanilang lesson in a modular form or in printed form, they can study it in advance and during their face-to-face, magkakaroon na ng interaction between teachers and the student or the professor and the students. Kasi doon sa kanilang pinag-aralan, doon sa printed module nila, kung may mga katanungan po sila doon, mariraise na during their face-to-face. Kaya meron tayong online at meron tayong face-to-face na learning. And that is the B-Learn at meron tayong asynchronous online learning. Next one, high-flex SPOC or the small private course online courses. This is an option to the students with special cases. Ayan. Alam naman natin, teachers or their viewers, kung yung mga estudyante natin ay may special case, no? So the high-flex SPOC are digital learning platform that offers unique and easy to access educational possibilities, and these are online lessons that are only available to officially enrolled students with special cases. Yung mga special children natin, pwede silang maging online students or tinatawag natin HiFlex small private online courses, especially made for the students with special cases. May mga universities or schools tayo na nag-o-offer ng ganyan sa mga special cases natin na estudyante. No. Another one is the traditional learning approach. Ito yung gustong-gusto natin na approach. No, traditional learning approach is an option that caters to those students who encounter difficulties during online distance learning. Ito yung mga estudyante na ayaw nilang mag-online. Gusto nila face-to-face lang. That is why sa DepEd, nagkaroon tayo ng survey, kung natatandaan ninyo, ilang estudyante ang prefer ang online at ilang mga estudyante ang mas prefer ang face-to-face. So, kung mas maraming face-to-face, ayan. So, choose natin yung more on face-to-face kasi mas may learning nga naman kung nakikita natin yung estudyante at kung may interaction, nagkakaroon pa ng Q&A doon sa ating lesson, no? May clarification doon sa ating mga binibigay na lesson sa mga estudyante. Okay. So ano naman ang sinasabi ni researches? So what research says to the hybrid or HiFlex learning? So a study of the hybrid instructional delivery for graduate students in an educational leadership course. Ito yung sa grad school by Alejandro Garcia. Given the success of hybrid learning models in graduate education, hybrid instruction can be valuable in meeting the needs of graduate students in relation to family life, flexibility, and work responsibilities. Recommendation of the study that further work is needed to ensure that the design and instructional method used in hybrid models support depth understanding of course content through social interactions both in class and online. So dito sa study na to, kailangan daw in-depth pa ang pag-aaral sa delivery ng hybrid instructional sa kanilang university or sa graduate school. Another study says that supporting the hybrid learning model, a new proposition. The result of the study emphasized that those universities who experimented on using the hybrid format of teaching have reported promising results. Students have more learning during the hybrid or HiFlex learning or HiFlex teaching. They perform better on tests o sa online sa kanilang mga examination. Marami daw silang nakukuhang score, mas higher ang score. And another one is discussing course materials more meaningfully kasi nakaka-ask sila ng question personally sa kanilang professor. And completing higher quality class project. Siyempre naman, dahil na personal ang instruction, personal nilang nakukuha yung instruction from the prof, at maganda ang result ng kanilang project. Okay. And that is supporting the hybrid learning model. Next one. The effect of hybrid learning in higher education or in college or in the universities. This is from Meidan Leung Lu in Arikan in 2014. The findings of the study revealed that faculty have still resistance to change. Managing risk factors. Siyempre, takot siguro sila. Siguro ito yung ginawa nila itong study na to, ito nung height ng COVID-19 pandemic, no? And scarce resources for course redesign, developing skills on both use of tools and pedagogy of online learning. So dito, one of the major disadvantages of hybrid learning is that effective online learning will take time to implement properly. So dito sa kanilang study, ang output or the outcome is kailangan na pagtuunan muna ng pansin yung pag-implement ng hybrid learning. Adoption of the conversational framework would require interactive lectures or tutorials that are extended to online discussion. Staff need to be trained and to develop online facilitative skills, and policies need to be written and implemented. So dito, kailangan nila ng agreement or kailangan din nila ng training. Nung muna tayo, paano ba natin gagawin yung virtual learning na yan? Paano tayong mag-Google Meet? Pinapractice pa namin yan ng mga kasama kong teacher. Mami, open ko ha, tapos tignan mo kung makapasok ako. Mga ganun na mga practice namin. So, later on, as we go on with the virtual teaching or virtual learning, nagagamay na ni teacher kung paano i-deliver. But then, there is also needed practice to for the engagement of students. Kasi iba pa rin pag personal na dinideliver ni teacher yung kanyang lesson, di ho ba? So, for the last slide, ay, salamat, sabi ni Sir Romy. So, according to George Couros, the author of Innovator's Mindset, technology will not replace great teachers or trainers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. Ayan. So noon, in the past, the major approach to learning was face-to-face. Agree. And learning in a classroom setting. With the arrival of computers and the internet, the new approach of e-learning became popular. Today, many more learning interventions and approaches exist. That is why meron tayong hybrid learning, high-flex learning na tinatawag, and creating the right mix of interventions will lead to hybrid learning. Ayan. So, si teacher pa rin po ang ma-manipulate sa technology na hinahawakan po natin o yung minamanipulate po natin. Ayan. For sana po meron po kayong natutunan sa ating approach in hybrid and high flex teaching. Okay, thank you po. Maraming salamat. Question po, is there any questions? Sir Romy, may question ka po ba? Oh, wala naman. Okay. And how about Ma'am Donabel? Kasi kayo po yung nakikita ko dito sa screen. Sorry po Okay naman po. Okay po, Ma'am Donabel. Okay. Okay, thank you po. So stop sharing ko na po, Ma'am Laika. So we will go on to day 3. Ayan po, Miss Laika. Sir Romy, certificate po. Ako na yung nag-ask ng certificate ko, no? Sorry po.
Doc Romy, where are you na?
Yes, ma'am. Okay na?
Okay na po.
Okay na, ma'am?
Yes po.
Okay, certificate of recognition is awarded to Ma'am Arlene T. Carlos for being the keynote speaker during the 3 days of the first International Multidisciplinary Webinar Series of Authors and Writers Guild, Beyond Books Publication, August 26 to 28, 2022. With our theme, Rising Beyond the Pandemic, ensuring quality life towards integral development. Given this 20th day of August 2022 at Makabibi, Pampanga. Signed, Dr. Leonardo B. Capolso, Beyond Books Publication, CEO President. Signed, Dr. Mutmaina. Sorry. Signed, Sir Mensawari S. Bacolod, the Authors and Writers Guild President. Signed, Professor Rania Lampu, Astronomy and Space Company, Athens, Greece. Thank you so much, Ma'am Arlene.
Yes po. Basta po kay Beyond Books Publication, okay po tayo.
Okay po, ma'am. And now, let's have the presentation of the certificate for the Technical Working Group. So let's have a certificate of recognition is awarded to Dr. Rosana Joy B. Pryor during the 3 days of First International Disciplinary Webinar Series of Authors and Writers Guild, Beyond Books Publication, August 26 and 28, 2022, with the theme, Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development, given this 20th day of August 2022 at Makabibi, Pampanga. Signed, Dr. Leonardo B. Capolso, Beyond Books Publication, CEO President. Signed, Dr. Mutmaina. Signed, Sir Mensawari S. Bacolod, Authors and Writers Guild President. And signed, Professor Rania Lampu, Astronomy and Space Company, Athens, Greece. Yes, ma'am, Dr. Rosana Joy P. Pryor, ma'am. And last certificate of recognition is awarded to Dr. Romy U. Kanha for being one of the moderators during the 3 day of the First International Multidisciplinary Webinar Series of Authors and Writers Guild, Beyond Books Publication, August 26 to 28, 2022, with the theme, Rising Beyond the Pandemic, Ensuring Quality Life Towards Integral Development, given this 28th day of August 2022 at Makabibi, Pampanga. Signed, Dr. Leonardo B. Capolso, Beyond Book Publication, CEO President. Signed, Dr. Mutmaina. Signed, Sir Mensawari S. Bacolod, Author and Writers Guild President. And signed, Professor Rania Lampu, Astronomy and Space Company, Athens, Greece. Congratulations to all our speakers for the last day of our virtual. Thank you so much. And now let's hear Dr. Rosana Joy B. Pryor to give the closing remarks. Ma'am Joy.
Okay, sir. Okay, good noon to everyone. Let me start my closing message with a famous quote that says, always walk through life as if you have something new to learn and you will. These past few days, we had given the chance to learn new things to upgrade our professional and personal life. These learnings will make us better, will somehow contribute to the development of our nation. On the other hand, the pandemic has brought our life into something that we cannot expect. The pandemic indeed is a game changer. However, the pandemic made us stronger and much more resilient. The learning brought to us by the pandemic and this multidisciplinary webinar will surely bring us to a clear path on where we will be in terms of research and writings. That with these simple gestures, we can make a great impact to the development of our nation. To Dr. Leonardo Capolso, the head of this training, thank you so much for giving me this momentous opportunity to speak and be part of this training. To the president of the author and writer guilds, Prof. Wensuwer Bacolod, who gave his opening remarks. Thank you for that wonderful message. To the speakers, Ma'am Linalyn Trapero, Dr. Henry Limana, Sir Edwin Taginod, and Ma'am Arlen Carlos, who shared their expertise. The staff and all participants who attended this webinar, may the learnings would end after this training. Let us bring to the ground of the learning that we have now. If we will not able to share it to others, become useless. This is Dr. Rosana Joy B. Pryor, your event chair for today's first International Multidisciplinary Webinar. Thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you, ma'am. To formally close our program, let's have a closing prayer. And once again, I'm your moderator, Dr. Romy Yucanya, signing off.
Sir, where can we access the evaluation for today po?
Hello.
We found it po.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am Laika, maybe we can have our picture.
Okay, participants, the evaluation form are in the chat box. Please answer all those evaluation forms so that you could get all this notification.
So, pa-open na po yung camera natin para may picture po tayo. Hi, Ma'am Sai.
We'll take it.
Okay. Pa-open po yung camera po natin. Smile.
5 pages po ito. So, i-next ko na lang po.
Okay. Ma'am Kayla, pa-picture po.
Yes po.
Okay.
Yung first page muna po.
Okay.
On my screen po. First page on my screen po. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, next.
Again po. 1, 2. Next page po. 1, 2, 3. Wait lang po.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you po sa mga participants po natin. Maraming salamat po. Hanggang sa muli.
2 pages po. 1, 2, 3. Last na lang po.
Doc Romy, thank you for the
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Thank you,
po sa
everyone.
lahat ng
Thank you for moderators and speakers. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. And happy.
Our next webinar.
Okay na po, Miss Kayla.
Yes,
Thank
po.
you
Done na
po.
Okay, thank you po.
Thank you po.
Sir Romy, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ma'am Joy. Hello. Hagardos. Thank you, ma'am.
Gary Bells, oy, Gary Bells, ikaw pa.
First time
Opo. Sige, picture tayo, ma'am. You surpass. I surpass. Opo. Thank you. Can I leave na?
Yes.
Yes po, you can leave na po. Everyone may leave. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.